Alrighty, welcome back, boys and girls. It's your main math man, Miss Shank, coming to you live from Summit Academy. In this video, we're starting a new unit. On Unit 8, we're talking about some Pythagorean theorem and irrational numbers, which we will kind of build towards throughout the unit. But what I want you to do right now, it says this. It says, which shaded region is larger? Explain your reasoning. Now, what I want you to do is, take a second, pause video, think, pair, share, try to figure out what do you think A or B, and then say why. So you would say, if you want a sentence starter, you would say something like this. I would say, I think figure blank is larger shaded region because I'm blank. So all you have to do, pause that video, think for yourself, share with the class. On the next part, it says find the area of each shaded square. So we're talking about this blue shaded region is what we're trying to find. There's going to be a couple parts to this. So I'll lead you through the first one so that way you can see how to do it. Alright, so what we have to do is we have to figure out and say, okay, well, what do I notice? I notice that, hey, it's on a grid, so I can count each of these square units. I could say, hey, this side length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So sorry, 10. There you go. So it should be 10 squares across, and you're saying, well, what is that going to help me with? Well, it tells me if I look at the actual side length of this triangle. So let me actually kind of highlight. So this is going to be, so this side length is for this box or this other square, but I need to say, well, if I look at, and let me draw maybe in green, let me draw this triangle right here, kind of trace along and say, hey, if I have this triangle in green, what I can do is I can find the area of the green triangles, and I can figure out what those are going to be. And what I can do is I can then subtract. So let me kind of redraw it on the side here. So again, that's not going to be perfect, but I can say, well, what's going to be this side length? Well, this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this side length is 9, and the height of this triangle, or the base, whatever you want to say, is 1. Again, remember the area of a triangle is going to be equal to 1/2. Or actually, let's just do base. Let's do base times the height divided by 2. And that's helpful because what I can do is I can find the area of this triangle. So I'm going to say the area of one of these triangles is going to be equal to, I have 9 times 1 divided by 2. And then I say that's 9 over 2. And that's helpful because I have 4 of these. Because I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And so what I can do is I can take and multiply this times the area of my triangles. So I can multiply that by 4. And so that's going to be the same as, what was that, 18? Sure. So the area that this is taking up is 18. And this is helpful because if I look at the size of the large square, I know that the area of that square, so the area of the, let me write that better, say the area of my big square is going to be 10 times 10, which is 100. And this is helpful because I can subtract these two. So I can find the area of my smaller shaded region, that square inside, is going to be, what do we have? 100 minus 18, which is going to be 82. So I say 82 units squared. So you're going to do this for each of those squares. So you find the area of each square and shade it in. So now try this one out. It says if let's say my side length is how much? Let's find the big amount first. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's going to be 10 by 10. So let me just say the area of the big square is 100. And so let's find out what these triangles are. So what's the length or the base and the height of this triangle? Well, this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to be a 5 by 5 triangle. And so we can find area. Keep doing that. So drawing an A, I draw a triangle. So area of a triangle is going to be 5 times 5 over 2, which is just the same as 25 over 2. I could take and multiply that times 4. So area of those triangles times 4. Multiply those fractions out. It's just the same as multiplying 25 by 2. So it's going to be 50. And so now I can take and have 100 minus 50 to get my area of the shaded region, which is going to be 50 units squared. So again, real simple. All you're doing is taking and subtracting the area of the triangles from the area of the of the larger square. The last one, a little bit trickier because it doesn't have a grid, but that's okay. We know that 7 plus 3 is 10, so 10 times 10 is 100 again, so the area of the big square is still 100. We can find the area of each of these triangles. We could say the area of that triangle is going to be equal to 7 times 3 over 2, which is 21 over 2. And we take 4 times that amount, so 4 times that area of that triangle is just like 2 times 21, so that's going to be 42. Lastly, subtract those two, so I have 100 minus 42 is going to give me my area of the shaded region in blue, which is 58 units squared. So make sure you're seeing how these are set up. Again, real simple, be able to find the side lengths and be able to multiply, because we said the area of a square is the side length squared, or the side length times another side length. So for example, if I look at the first one, it says what is the side length of square A? I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is going to be side length of square A is 5. What's the area? Well, that's going to be 5 times 5, which is 5 squared, which is 25. For B, I do an orange for B. This is what's the side length, or sorry, for C this time. So for number 2, it's C. It skips over 1. It says what is the side length of square C? So now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now this is 6. So the side length is 6. So that means the area is going to be 6 times 6, which is 36. And so now, if you want to, you can set it up like you did before. Let's say if this is your box or your large square, you can find the side length. So I could say This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this side length is 7. That means that the big area, so area of the big square is 49. I can find the area of each of those triangles. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 3. So this is going to be a 3 by 4 triangle. So this is 4, this is 3. So I say the area of, man, I keep doing that. Area of that triangle is going to be 4 times 3 over 2, which is the same as 6. So now I can do 4 times 6 is 24, and that's, that's each of these triangles, those areas added up is going to be 24. So that means I can take 49 minus 24. So I take 49 minus 24 to get 25. So if the area, so this is area. So if the area of B is 24, or sorry, if the area of B is 25 square units, that means the side length is the square root of that. So the square root of 25 is going to be 5. So make sure you're practicing those squares and square roots. Then it says for number 4, find the areas of squares D, E, and F. Which of these squares must have side lengths that is greater than 5 but less than 6? Explain how you know. So let's find some of these areas. Let's do it in purple now. So let's draw the box around each of these squares. Something like this maybe. So let's see, if for the big square around D, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 by 6 is 36. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's going to be 49. And this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's going to be 64. So the area of the big squares is written below. And I'm trying to find the squares inside. Again, in order to do that, find the small triangles. So let's say the area of this triangle. Area of that triangle is 2 by, is that 3 or 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 4. 2 by 4. So that area is going to just be 4. So each of these areas is 4. So 4 times 4 is 16. And then I have, so D, so the area of square D is going to be 36 minus 16, which is 20. I have the next one for E. Same idea, let me set this up. I have side length of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is 5 by 2. Which means each of these is going to be 5. Which means the area that they all take up, all 4 of them, is going to be 20. So I take 49 minus 20 to get my area, which is 29. And I can say for F, same idea. Let's find that these triangles. So I have this side length is 3. This side length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's going to be like 15 times 2 to get each of those areas, which is 30. Now I have to take 64 minus 30. So 64 minus 30, which is going to be 34. So make sure you're seeing each of those. Again, I found the area of the big square. I subtracted out the non-shaded regions, which is just the triangles. I found the area of each of the other side lengths. Now it says which of these squares must have a side length that's greater than 5 but less than 6. So let me actually do this part. Let me do pick this time. We do this part right here. Now we have some space. I'm going to say squares E and F. And the reason why I know that is because if I look at the square roots of 29 and 34, I know that they're in between 5 and 6. So I'd say 5 less than square root of 29 is less than 6, and also 5 less than square root of 34. 34 is less than 6. Again, when you look at those square roots, you can check with the calculator, but I know that works because if I look at 5 squared, that's 25, so those numbers are greater than that. But if I look at 6 squared, that's 36, so those numbers are less than that. So again, make sure you're pausing and asking questions as needed. All right, so on the back, lesson 1 practice, make sure. So I will start and you finish. So same idea, find the area of each square. So draw your big square first. Draw your big square first. And we find the area of that triangle. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 4 by 1, which is the same as having an area of 2. So each of these areas inside those triangles is 2. So now I can take and say, okay, if, the big area, let me find that first, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the area of the big purple square is 5 squared, which is 25. Write that a little bit better, 25. I have the area of the triangles, so area of the triangles is 2, so 4 times that amount is 8. So now I take and say the area of A, the area of A is going to be 25 minus 8, which is 17. So you can just make sure you're seeing how to do those, just like we did on the front side. So make sure you pause. So pause and finish B, C, and D. All right, so now that you finished number 1, number 2 on the back is find the length of the square if its area is the follows. These are super simple because, again, it's like I'm taking the square root of 81. So square root of 81 is going to be 9. Square root of 4 over 25 is going to be equal to 2 over 5. Square root of 0.45 is going to be equal to 0.7. And the square root of m squared is just m. So make sure you're saying, again, the side length. So again, these are side length. So just remember that when you're talking about the area, that's the units squared. Side length is just the units. And lastly, for number 3, it says find the area of the square, and if it's side length. So it gives us a side length, so now we can just square these. So this is going to be equal to 9. This is going to be equal to 49. 49. This is going to be equal to 10,000. This is going to be equal to 1,600. And this is just going to be equal to x squared. So let me put the units on each of those. So it'd be 9 inches squared. That's going to be 49 units squared. 10,000 centimeters squared. 1,600 inches squared. And x squared units squared. It's getting real simple. Please make sure. So please finish and turn in. Be sure to ask questions, and as always, super slam that subscribe button.